Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cryptoms podcast. Buzzing as always. Super pumped to have today's guest on the show. Still coming in hot from Argentina, and just found out that my guest today is Argentino. Obviously, big soft spot for him. I love him already. My girlfriend is from Argentina. I love this country. It's one of my favorite countries in the world. This place is all world, and I'm super pumped for a lot of you to come down and experience this during Dev Connect as well. Today we have Maxi Stochyk on the show today, head of sales at CoinTerminal, where he drives B2B sales, fundraising, top notch strategy, and of course, go-to-market initiatives for Web3 projects. CoinTerminal, it's absolutely on fire. The Launchpad serves over 600,000 users, 2.2 billion in connected assets, and 80 mil plus in distributed value. They've been in the space for a hell of a long time. Max has been in the space since 2014. Wow. Multiple seven-figure fundraising deals and leads a huge sales team. Super pumped to have you on, Max. Welcome to the show, my friend. Buen dia, ¿cómo estás?
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Matt, for having me today.
Pumped to have you on. I mean, let's get into the Argentina stuff right away.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, one of the best places on the planet. Milei just won again. Again, we are recording on Wednesday, October 29th. This is going to air, give or take, a week later. But Milei got the big dub. I'm in Palermo right now. I go for a walk in Palermo. I see the socialists and all the, the purple haired people. They're losing their shit. They're all pissed off. Even for me, I had some friends who were like, how does it affect you? I love Argentina and I want you guys to get your economy back. So I'm for Milei, obviously, but I even lost some purchasing power over the last couple of days. I'm Canadian, I'm not even American, but still my purchasing power went down. I don't care. I'd rather have your guys' economy much better. But what's your take on Argentina right now? Do you guys have a chance, my friend, at regaining a top 10 economic powerhouse in the world like you were in the 1940s?
So I'd say Argentina right now, like everything is moving towards like being a normal country. I don't usually I do have a lot of like chats regarding Milei, regarding the old government. I do think what Milei is doing is what needs to be done, right? We've seen this. Basically, the economy needed like a big shift, right? In terms of, it was too cheap in USD back in the day. So everyone coming to Argentina was expecting like super low prices because of the currency kind of issues that we have. So basically currency controls. Right now that's gone. So basically the market is putting the price into the USD. That's what we expect also from like being in this kind of space where everything is based on markets and stuff. So that's how it should be. Like, of course, right now, as you said, like the buying power for USD incomes or whatever currency you have, it's going to be much lower, right? As you said, like everything is going to be expensive, I'd say, even for people coming from countries, as you said, like you're Canadian or like from US, or there's things in Argentina right now that are more expensive than in the US, for example, and in Europe or many countries. But I do think everything is going to be like, at the end of the day, it's something that needed to be done, right? So it's Argentina is moving towards where it should be. Like, so that's good. As I told you, I moved out of Argentina like 4 or 5 years ago, but I usually go at least 4 or 5 times per year, and I'm like 1 hour away from Buenos Aires.
Super close, yeah.
Right. So I still like visit Argentina, but for me, it became pretty expensive, I'd say. Like even like I live in Paraguay, as I told you. So like here, like Paraguay's lower taxes. So a lot of Argentinians are moving here because of that, and it's the cost of living is much lower, and you're still 1 hour away from Buenos Aires. So it's pretty good. Like, yeah.
The shit isn't cheap here, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's on par with Toronto. Toronto is obviously one of the most expensive cities in North America. It's not quite New York, LA, or Miami, but it's definitely not cheap. I had buddies who were there, Maxi, in 2022, 2023. You get a grass-fed steak for $5. Those days are gone. Now a good steak it's gonna cost you, $20-25 American kind of thing. Where you still find arbitrage is in like Uber's still very cheap in my opinion. Drinking, like if I go out with some friends and have a couple of pops after work in Toronto, it's very expensive. Here, it's very, very cheap. And then of course some food. But the craziest stuff is anything that's imported. Like if you want instant coffee, if you want electronics, iPhones, I'm here for a while. I'm going to get a monitor. So I work better on a monitor. It's way more expensive than back home. So stuff that is domestic is cheaper, whereas stuff that is imported is obviously far more expensive. I want to talk crypto in Argentina though. When I first got here last November, Maxi. Obviously, I went back to try some traveling, but dude, the amount of crypto adoption here is wild. It's crazy. A lot of people. A
Yeah,
lot of people.
that's the reason why.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm here. Like, I do a lot of stuff for like most of my for like, we're not like, for example, CoinTerminal, the offices are based in Dubai, but I'm the only one operating from Latin America, and you know the reason, because
Yeah.
like there's a lot of traction when it comes to crypto Web3 adoption in Latin America, specifically in Argentina. Argentina is huge, as you said. Like,
I mean, going and being able to exchange Tether for ARS is wild. Restaurants that accept Tether. A lot of people here, like in Canada, I don't have any friends unless it's one of my degen friends like me. I'm never sending crypto to crypto. It's always, our version of Zelle. It's an e-transfer. So very wild to see that it has been adopted so quickly. But then again, in North America, like we have our currencies are good. Like we have no need to use stablecoins, There's really no need. Like for stablecoins, what are you doing? You're paying someone in a different country, or you're getting interest, or you're, gambling on a shitcoin, right? Or buying a good coin like a Bitcoin and ETH, a hype sold, blah, blah, blah. So very, very interesting just to sort of see the differences, but I do love it down here. One last thing on Argentina. How would you describe it for your folks, not for your folks, excuse me, for everyone coming in for Dev Connect? I know there's going to be, 10, 20,000 people coming for that. It's the biggest, to my knowledge, the biggest crypto conference in Latin America.
yeah,
I love it here. I sort of explain Argentina a couple different ways. The people are incredible, super chill. The food's amazing. The service isn't great just because you guys are so chill about everything. Like in Toronto, you can be in and out of a restaurant. The waiter's very tentative. Like, what do you need? I got it for you. Boom. Here, everyone's just so chill, and it's just like you wake up in the morning, you have desayuno, you wait a couple hours, almuerza, maybe take a nap in the afternoon, media luna at like 5 o'clock with a cafecito, everyone's drinking mate, dinner at 11 o'clock. It drives me crazy. And then, you stay up till 2 in the morning talking to friends. It's wild, dude.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
Yeah, I'd say like if I can like, as you said, like everything you said is correct. Like depending on, I do agree that basically outside Buenos Aires, you will find it's even more chill, right? Which sometimes can become a bit boring in my opinion. So I do prefer more like the kind of like city kind of vibe, but of course it's not going to be as fast as cities like, I don't know, maybe Dubai, New York, or Miami, like they're like much more, or Toronto in Canada, like, so but it depends where you're like moving, or like Palermo where you're at. Okay, that's a pretty big destination for a lot of tourists from all over the world. But I'd say for people coming for Dev Connect, you will have a great time. As I said, it will not be as cheap as it used to be. So yeah, but it's still going to be super, like, as you said, you can have like a grass-fed steak for like $30-$40. That's not going to happen in the US or in Canada, in my opinion. It's going to be much more expensive.
Exactly.
Like I was there like 3 weeks ago, and like I spent like $300 in a steakhouse, and it was bad. I didn't like it. So
Where'd you go?
It was STK, I think. Yeah, STK Steakhouse. Yeah, it had pretty good reviews in Google. So I just walked in, ordered like tomahawk, and it was the worst I ever had. And I told them like, this is bad. I didn't like it. Maybe I was like, it was the location. I don't know, but yeah, it was not a good experience.
STK in STK in Buenos.
STK, no, it was not in Buenos Aires. It was in Florida, in the United States.
In Miami.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why. No. In Buenos Aires, I can have great steak for $50-$60 per person. Yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, I love La Cabrera.
La Cabrera is really good.
La Cabrera is so fire. Okay,
yeah,
we can do a whole Argentina. Next time I have you on, we'll do a whole Argentina episode.
Okay, awesome.
Let's jump into. I mean, give us sort of the, you've been in the game for a while. Give us the elevator pitch. CoinTerminal, the big launchpad, one of the biggest launchpads. You guys do so much stuff. This is why it's always a little difficult having someone not like you, but like company like CoinTerminal on the pod, because you guys don't just do one thing. You do so many things. So give us the elevator pitch. What exactly to you and the team at CoinTerminal?
Yeah, so CoinTerminal, we basically work with pre-TG projects that are looking to go to market. We help them with a lot of things, mostly with fundraising. So we have, as you said, 600K users at the beginning of the pod, 2.2 billion connected assets. So we basically connect this retail community with the projects that are launching. And we basically help them fundraise. But a lot of the times we're also helping founders with a lot of things on the go-to-market strategy. So this could be anything from giving them feedback on their positioning or their narrative, or or the launch strategy, if they're doing it well, if they're doing as a launchpad, we usually know what's going to work and what's not going to work when you're launching a token. And we do find there's like a lot of founders that they come with like great tech, great team, they have some traction, but when it comes to the token launch, the token launch strategy is not as aligned, right? So we always have to tell them, okay, guys, you have a great product, you have some traction, you have really intelligent people on your team, but the token launch has to be aligned, because if you launch the token and it doesn't do well, then basically no one will care what you're building on top, because they will be more, they will care more about the price action of the token, which is it's pretty sad, but this is what happens in Web3 communities, right? Like people are more about, okay, the price action than the product or what they're solving. I'm not saying everyone, right? But it's going to be like a big percentage of people. Just so we tell them, okay, what's your launch strategy for the token, and we help them a lot with, like, we're super hands-on with the teams basically to make sure the token is successful, right? Because at the end of the day, for us as a launchpad, we want you to fundraise, but we also want your token to do well, because that's how we're also doing well, right? Like at the end of the day, if the token does well, our community will be happy. They make more return on their investment, and everyone is happy, right? So that's why we're pretty hands-on if you compare to other launchpads. And if I can also say, we're one of the only open access launchpads in the space. So this means that we don't have a token, right? All other launchpads, you will find you will need to stake the launchpad token in order to get access to the sale, right? So something we're doing pretty differently is we don't have a token. So anyone can come to CoinTerminal today and they can buy any of the projects we're launching soon. They can buy, they have to do a KYC, they can buy the token, and they get the opportunity to get like really good price action before it goes to exchanges before. So that's the premise out of like CoinTerminal, like open access. We don't want to gatekeep with the token. And of course, by doing this, we're able to raise much more money for projects at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well said. Very well said. I mean, we'll take a little jig and a jag here. Echo raising, not even raising, excuse me, getting acquired for 300 mil. I mean, that was a launch pad, right? Very similar to what you guys did or do, excuse me. I feel like there's a new wave of kicking out not even the middleman, but kicking out the middleman and democratizing access to really good products like what you guys do. You know, that was Kobe and Echo's sort of whole thing. He gave access to the average Joe at Josephine, gave them access to incredible products, services, coins, chains that were launching very, very early, always pre-TGE. You guys do the exact same thing. Do you think this trend is still picking up steam? Do you think we're sort of plateauing a little? Where do you see sort of the distributed, decentralized, venture access going?
So I do think in terms of like acquiring users, it's like the best. Like we like to like also me as a person, like I like to do things where they don't have friction, right? If something doesn't have friction, it's much easier. So if the user doesn't have any friction, that they basically come to us, they sign up, they see the products they like. They don't even have to do the KYC before, like only before contributing, right? So they can get to the sale, they can win allocation, and before contributing, they need to do the KYC. I do think this is like a growing trend for users, because users don't want to have like thousands of dollars staked on a Launchpad token, because this is basically removing liquidity from the user, right? Like it's basically, instead of having the user with $10,000 available for different investments, maybe they have $5,000 because they have to buy $5,000 worth of the Launchpad token. So in our case, we do see it, like we do think it's going to become kind of like a trend. Of course, a lot of launchpads that they already have a token, it's going to be harder for them. But we've seen this with many launchpads, like the decentralized kind of launchpads in the Solana ecosystem, and we've seen that they're basically going this road where, okay, anyone can invest, and I do think this is great, and because it's basically funneling liquidity from the user directly to the project. That's what we wanna do at this, like at the end of the day. That's the main goal. Instead of user launchpad token, user has to get money to have liquidity to buy the token, and then we also like to see that they have liquidity also for the secondary markets. Once they go live on TGE, they have more money available to buy the token. So it's a win-win situation for projects at the end of the day, and also for users.
Yeah, no, 100%. Max, you're on a roll here. We got to take a quick break. Give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show, Prime XPT. When we get back, we're going to keep buzzing on CoinTerminal and a couple tips from Maxi and the squad on if you are a founder, what is the best route to go, what products are being the most sticky right now, and how you can succeed in this very tough game on the Web3 growth and community playbook. Huge shout out to Prime XPT, longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. We love the team at Prime XPT as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet. You can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XPT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. Use the promo code CryptoNews50, that's CryptoNews50, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, CryptoNews50, all in order to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Okay, let's go founder mode for a sec. Walk me through everything you're seeing right now. Like, you can start with what trends are hitting the hardest right now. Is it RWAs? Is it AI? Seems like DePIN sort of falling off the map a little. I haven't heard much about DePIN. We have this sort of X402 wave coming in, autonomous agents, and then tie that into what trends should founders be going for in order to succeed? And what is the playbook, right? Like, should this be launched at a super low val? Just give us when a founder is on the phone with Maxi and says, hey, Maxi, I'm thinking of using CoinTerminal. If your feet are in my shoes, what would you do in order to make this launch and my early stage community as powerful and successful as possible?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, because that's something I do daily. Like, I talk to many founders every month, and basically they all come with different strategies. Some of them come with like huge valuations, but no exchanges to basically back up the valuation. Some of them come with the strategy that said, okay, lower valuation and grow to the market. So there's like three different elements that we like to tell founders that they need in order to succeed. Of course, whatever they're building, that's going to be on the side for now. We're going to focus on the token side of things. So basically, the first one is, okay, VCs or backers, which is basically social proof, right? So who's backing you? A lot of founders these days, they don't have VCs backing them. So sometimes they're bootstrapping. Sometimes they raise some money through angels. That's fine. Like, it's not like, okay, if you don't have a VC or backer, your project is not worth it. But it's a really good signal in terms of like social proof. Then the second one is the exchanges that you're going to be live on. That's a really important factor, because most of the times, if you're only going to be doing a DEX, it's not going to work, right? You need volume from exchanges, right? And depending on the valuation you're going to be launching or initial market cap, it's going to be 2 or 3 exchanges. Sometimes I'm not going to mention specific names, but usually I'm going to give you some examples in terms of valuations in a sec. And then the third one is KOLs, right? Influencers, KOLs in the space. They're pretty important, right? We usually like to see, okay, which KOLs are you working on, and we will give them feedback on if these KOLs are good. If they're not good, we will also try to add our KOL manager, to make sure they get the best KOLs possible on board it, right? That's something we do pretty hands-on, because we find a lot of founders or teams don't do this pretty well. So it's really important to have all this together. And in terms of FDB and metrics, there's a couple of things we like to see as a launchpad, of course, right? So there's going to be situations where founders come and they say, we want to do a huge unlock on TGE, like 100% unlock on TGE. And sometimes we back up from the idea. We tell them, no, if you do 100% unlock on TGE, your token will die, right? Because you will not be able to sustain the selling pressure you will have from whatever launchpads you're racing, or it's going to be hard. So we give like a pretty transparent feedback and tell them, guys, okay, maybe try to do lower, even if it's not like in our best interest, it's probably better to get 100%, right? But because everyone will be happy, it would get much more interest from the community. But at the end of the day, the token will not do well. And I'll explain you in a sec why this is really important. Most of the times we're doing refundable rounds on CoinTerminal, right? So how does it work? The user at CoinTerminal has 24 hours to decide if they want to keep the token or if they want to refund on their investment, right? So for us, it's really important to get as much claims as possible from our users. So we're really interested in the token doing well when we talk to founders. So why? Because we don't want them to get refunds, right? We want them to get more claims, right? Instead of a lot of refunds. So when founders come to us and they tell us the launch strategy, usually we're going to be pretty aggressive when it comes to the feedback we will give them. Like, if there's something they need to change, they will do it. In terms of what narratives we're seeing these days, I think RWA is one of the biggest ones, like tokenized assets or real estate, like all kind of like tokenized assets. That's pretty big. deep in. It's slowly, yeah, not a lot, I'll say, and at least in the last 2 or 3 months, a lot of AI, but AI, I think it's slowly. It doesn't have the novelty that it used to have, right? Back in the day, every project was just trying to like change the narrative, like pivot the narrative to, okay, we're building this game, but now it has AI. We're doing this, but now it has AI, and people stop like it's not novelty because everyone is just putting AI just for the sake of having AI. So, but we do find a lot of like good AI projects that are like native AI and not pivoting just to make the fundraising or the put like a bit easier. But it's fine. Like we're always happy to have projects that come and they need pivoting and they need help with the narrative. That's something we do because at the end of the day, the token is going to be, we need to sell this token to retail, right? And retail, they want to be part of the latest narratives because they understand this type of tokens are potentially going to do well versus like narratives that are basically dead, right? Or that no one wants. So it always makes sense. So that's usually like, and then in terms of like founders, there's like a lot of things we help them. Like as I said, like it could be anything from the marketing, from the token metrics or the tokenomics, whatever they have. Most of the times we do prefer projects that have lower valuations because we think they can grow on the secondary
100%.
markets.
Yeah.
Versus versus projects that have higher valuations, let's say 50 to 100 mil valuations, and most of the times they're not going to do well, right? Only if they can back up the valuation they're raising. Okay, how do you back up the FDB? Traction, really good exchanges like tier 1 exchanges, you know them, like, okay, yeah, 2 or 3 tier 1 exchanges, really good KOLs, a lot of money for marketing and to basically distribute your token that everyone is talking about your token launch. That's the only way to sustain like a huge valuation. So most of the times we do prefer projects that, okay, they back up, okay, yeah, you're right, we should start from the bottom and the market will say if we can grow. But if you do this well, it's much better, right? It's really good because if you launch from the top and you just die, you're not coming back most of the times. Your project is dead basically. So
Yeah.
it's pretty like, we tell them, guys, you only have one chance for TG, like do it well. Don't try to like, sometimes it's about the ego, okay, like, yeah, we are like 100 mil FDB project. Okay, guys, what exchanges are you going live? No, we're going in one exchange, which is usually tier 2 or tier 3, or sometimes they even say, oh, we're going live on a DEX, and we're later going to an exchange, and they have this huge initial market cap in day one, and the chart doesn't look good, right? And no one is gonna like, yeah, it's basically project is dead from day one. So we give a lot of feedback on this because from having more than 100 launches, we usually know what's going to work and what doesn't work. So in terms of what is the playbook you said, like at the beginning, it's basically making sure everything is aligned. No matter what product you have, you can have the best product, you can have the best traction, the fastest blockchain, you're building something pretty super unique. But if your token is not like aligned with the market, no one will buy your token. And basically your price action will not, it will not have buying pressure, right? We've seen this happen with a lot of teams. It's pretty, so as I say, it's always good to listen to feedback from parties like ourselves. Like, as I said, myself, I have more than 80 calls per month, right? With founders, all type of founders. You will have founders that are ready to, if you tell them, guys, you need to lower your valuation, you need to like, sometimes they will do it. Sometimes they will say, no, we're not open to do any changes. And once they launch, you know what happens, right? Yeah.
Well said. Okay, a couple things. I mean, one thing that sort of surprised me was the importance of KOLs in crypto still to this day. Because I feel like some of the good projects, some of the best ones that like the mega ETHs, like they're not even paying KOLs, for them, it's just, they're giving out so much value. You sort of, I still feel like, not feel like, creating KOLs, creating your own KOLs and not paying them and giving them so much value is still number one. But I guess you still need KOLs to succeed present day,
that
right?
It's about, I do understand what you're mentioning in terms of like mega ETH or a lot of projects that have like really good distribution, right? In terms of, okay, they're doing great airdrops, but they have a lot of like big and sometimes it's not about the big KOLs, it's about the micro KOLs, right? Smaller accounts basically talking about your token. And sometimes even these smaller accounts have more engagement, not sometimes, most of the times, like bigger engagement than the bigger accounts. So in it doesn't have to be, okay, no, you have to have like this huge KOL. It's about, okay, the list of KOLs, of course we do. If you have good KOLs, that's better. But you can have like a ton of like micro KOLs and still do pretty well, because there's like a lot of incentives for them, right? At the end of the day, like when you're launching a token, you're giving incentives to these KOLs to basically talk about your project. But I do think, yeah, KOLs are important, but of course the marketing stack on a project will not only be KOLs. Like it will be basically, okay, how do we get our brand awareness as high as possible? This could be anything from, you can do a lot of things. It's not only KOLs, but most of the times what do we control in terms of, we cannot control the whole marketing department for a project. What we can control is, okay, maybe help them with the token metrics, maybe help them with some good KOLs, or if they have bad KOLs, tell them, okay, guys, this KOLs, you will spend money or tokens or whatever, and they will not do anything. So we can save them. This usually happens a lot with like first-time founders, like founders that it's basically their first time launching. So they need a lot of help, and then sometimes we do have founders that maybe they launch 2 or 3 times. So they usually know the game and it's easy to work with them versus first-time founders. But a lot of first-time founders are also really open to feedback, which is great. But I do think KOLs are important still, but only a small percentage will have the impact. It's not like back in 2021 that someone was just pushing a tweet and it was going parabolic. No, that doesn't work. Like we found like really good engagement with micro KOLs, which is usually it was not the case back in 21. If you like, it was like bigger accounts. Yeah.
100%. What an episode, dude. Anything else you'd like to give us on CoinTerminal? Obviously, you're head of sales there. If teams in the B2B space want to get in touch, fundraising, go to market, just the whole Web3 ecosystem, hit you up. But knowing that your episode drops in a week, any news or announcements, anything you'd like to drop us, or anything that we may have missed on CoinTerminal before we let you go today?
Yeah, so if any founder is listening and wants to have a round with us, they can get in touch with me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on, you can go to cointerminal.com/ you will have the business part, and then for founders there's a page specifically for founders. You can apply there, whatever you prefer, and basically we start a conversation. That's usually how we do it. Once we go through the assessment, we have different processes that every project has. We have a KYB process after assessment, of course. So if it's a good fit, that's the way to get a sale running with us. Then in terms of news, we're working a lot of things in the background. We're working on really making sure we're able to do bigger races. Like we're doing a lot of things we have a lot of things in the pipeline, which I will not disclose, right? Because it's then we kill the news. But we're working towards basically becoming the best launchpad in the space, where anyone can come and they can get allocation of their favorite project. As I said, open access, refundable, so 24-hour refund terms for most projects. So this means that for the user, it's risk-free. They can come, they can buy allocation. If the token doesn't do well, they can get a refund. Of course, for the projects, this means if you're a founder, this means you need to make sure your token will do well. So you have this extra pressure. But I think it's in the best interest of most founders to have this kind of like performance-based thing where, okay, yeah, my token needs to do well because I want to get as much payout as possible from CoinTerminal versus getting refunds, right? So, but for our user, it's awesome. Like refundable is like really good. They're super interested. Whatever sale we put out, usually is going to have a ton of interest because it's risk free. So that's what we're trying to push. And of course, we always have situations where projects want to do, can we do non-refundable? Most of the times when projects ask for non-refundable, we think it's like, because your token will not do well. Because if you do a refundable sale with us and your token does well, you're able to raise 5 to 10x more than doing non-refundable. You get the point, right? Like the interest is going to be so high because it's that your payout as a project can be 5 to 10x higher in terms of like if you do well. So that's the for if you're a founder, you've seen it, but like that's what we tend to do. So yeah.
Well said. Great epi, bro. Before you go, can you please let us know where we can find you personally, and of course CoinTerminal online and on socials?
Yeah, sure. So you can find us in X. It's basically CoinTerminal. So at CoinTerminal, cointerminal.com. You will find everything about us, how to apply to if you're a founder, if you're a user, you can register in 2-3 minutes. You'll have your account running, and you can basically contribute to any of the sales we have. At the moment, we have a lot of sales coming up in the next 1 or 2 months. A lot of players are, of course, waiting for the best market. So We did have a lot of sales that were going to go live in October. Now they're going to be happening in November. This episode is going to be live in November, so now this month. So stay tuned, and that's the best way. If you want to get in touch with me personally, you can get in touch. You can check my LinkedIn account, and we can chat. Of course, check that it's with the verified tick, so it's me, and we can go from there.
You got it, folks. We're in an episode with Maxi, head of sales at CoinTerminal. Great epi on just sort of the present state of fundraising and the secret sauce of actually, distributing your project in the most efficient and successful way present day, end of 2025 in the crypto land. Huge shout out to Maxi and the CoinTerminal team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, I hope you did. Please subscribe. Hammer that like button. It would mean the world to my team when I speak to the team. Love you guys. Jed, you keep crushing it. And back to the listeners, keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and top. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.